back on the road. After 40 years of work, what do I have? Curiosity, fear, camping gear, and a big car. Let me call it emptiness. For months I've been rutabaga broth, stewing in retirement's kettle. I'll drive the great river road which snakes beside the Mississippi, through swamps and drizzle and red pines. When I trekked Nepal in '81, after visiting Kathmandu temples, I met a man who walked all India from the tip to the Chinese border. He carried but a bedroll and a book. He walked the Himalayas, sure-footed and spry, past the mountain of the sleeping elephant, past the fishtail, the tent, under the providing goddess, and along the river in earth's deepest slit, the Kali Gandaki Gorge. At 50, he wanted to learn his new path. He longed to pray at Holy Muktanath, where a flame burns above water in a cave. He prayed and turned around for home. A seed fell into my soul. When I wade the Mississippi's first shallows, my rolled up jeans become sodden. The water is clean and I drink by hand. Tall white pines dot the distance. Tourists are coming. They bring their laughing children. But I'm alone for a moment at the Mississippi headwater, in the parking lot called Cemetery Circle. My car won't start. The battery's dead. Tomorrow seems as thick as a spruce swamp. At the Deerwood Motel, an old woman smoker in a too-tight bra and lipstick job flips on no vacancy as I arrive. All the rooms are empty except one with a trucker. I smell his Old Spice in the lobby. The big river slides beneath Brainerd's Bridge, where meth head painters sign their names. They tattoo pentagrams on the pylons. They pick their scabs, give up on choice. They're following the long, long road like ghosts. The ground is trembling from nighttime explosions at Fort Ripley's artillery range. I never went to Nam, but Roger, Steve, and Dennis came back and blew themselves away, one way or another. Pig's Eye is a riverside waste plant. Prisons hunker up and down this river. I'm not really a pilgrim like Parsifal or Coyote, but a rosary of sorrow twists in my head. Treasure Island Casino rises on the res beside the nuclear plant. The storage ponds, stainless steel silos, the Mdewakanton sweat lodges. The Dakota raise their bison under bright lights. Old paddlefish feel the river with their lips. They never see more than the dark current. Their scales hum the world's oldest songs. Their skeletons wash up on the sands. 8 vultures wobble upon the updraft. The Kowali singers of the birds are chanting in the woods. Who are you, you wild songbirds, whistling above poison ivy? Why are you singing those sweet songs for me? Old-timers told me, it's okay, enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's okay. Even sparrows build a sloppy nest. It's okay. We all watch our fantasies slide off a log like turtles. In La Crosse in '68, after hitching rides all day, Dennis and I slept on headstones until the caretaker drove home at 2 a.m. and threatened his wife's life through her locked window. Dennis then laid out on a bar's front stoop. I watched the sun roll over a bakery. Then the lottery draft changed our lives. Now a bar girl talks with NASCAR speed at this same Thirsty Turtle Tavern. It's 5 a.m. A coyote's in the road. A possum stands still in the cornfields. As a coon climbs out of the state park trash, the campground host waves goodbye. At the window, his wife washes her underarms. Effigy mounds look down on the river, the Great Bear, the Little Bear, and effigy graves. I look up. I can't see stars in the daylight, but I can examine pot shards behind glass. Maybe I feel the spirits of their dead. Once in Pepin beside fish factory waste, I watched 80 bald eagles eat dinner. When I stood to greet them, they fled like a carnival of cyclones. In Cassville, on the sand, I find a feather. I studied Latin and the periodic tables and history and the classics at the U. This Galena is on the National Register. Granted, her Ulysses made it to the top with bullets, and brass, and politics. Rain dribbles on my windshield. Vintage tractors parade to Comanche. I can't swat the memories as if they were the flies that pestered me while I inspected cattle sale barns at Sleepy Eye, Blue Earth, and Truman. A riverside boatman offers me a ride to Port Byron, named after the Lord. My heart's a peony crawling with ants. My world is cracking, but I won't cross the river to the land of a dead poet. 20 years ago, I told the barber from Macomb I'd visit for a shave and a haircut. But he's not in the phone book. His neighbors don't know where he's gone. And I'm late, and I'm bearded, and I'm bald. Sam Clemens fled Hannibal's bluff. But Barkers keep his bed behind glass. And the whitewashed fence scam continues today. It's an all-American money-making scheme. A Christian woman who once owned a motel serves me lunch with checkered napkins. This is Grafton, Gravetown, with something added. A youth prison nudging the bluff. It's like Red Wing, where I taught the boys last year. The Piasaw bird is back on the bluff. It's a spray-painted panther snake with wings. Everyone thought it had flown with the natives, but a scrapped admiral from the Pacific Fleet says it is the perfect school mascot and parade float. Cahokia has pyramids and a wood henge. Retired teachers narrate the slideshow. Tell me what's known through the diggings. Scholars keep their guessing. Their funding is low. This site is a speculative label. The gateway arch is a man-made rainbow. My half-breed ancestor passed through Missouri as a wagon train scout with 49ers. My great-great-gramps never found his pot of gold. His petty wife died, abandoned him and her kids. It could say Pompeii, but it's Herculaneum, a Civil War city with lead smelters. Even today, the green leaves are heavy. Every empire feeds on poison and lead and civil wars and bullets and death. Razor wire cuddles the Menard prison near the coffin carrier's town of Chester. I watched the sun die on Missouri Flats, where a pioneer town drowned in the river. An otter sprawls dead ahead on the road. Rush Limbaugh is from Cape Girardeau, our country's only inland cape. It has a conservative gear off kilter. I want to go home. I want to go north to the ice states, the wilds, and my family. Then through Thebes and on to Cairo, where the rivers meet, all Kairos and currents. A crackhead speaks like a black-faced sphinx. Downtown looks bombed, except that Corvette parked in front of a boarded-up bank. Across one river, the Old West, across the Ohio, the South, barges and freight trains stretch to the east. To the north, only trees and water. Here is a whirlpool of choices. I'm headed somewhere, but I'm lost among places called Alma, Pikes Peak, Gutenberg, Savannah, Louisiana, Mexico, Hannibal, and Canton. They're all on one long road. Where in hell am I? I rush for Memphis to walk on Beale Street, buy photos of my favorite blues men. I listen to street singers and sampled horns on glittering walks decked out with people with river fog, rib shack smoke, and ganja. The Pyramid Arena reflects on the water. Lonely nights return and swim in my soul. I flip the motel's cable TV from James Bond to the Three Stooges to Francis, the Army Mule. The Heartbreak Hotel and a grounded 747 stare across crowds to Graceland. Tour buses park nose to rear, hang like bracelets in a souvenir shop, or inch ahead like the pilgrims at Mecca, at Guadalupe, or the Ganges. Now the miracle of Sun Records in Las Vegas twinkles on television and in the cinema, in curved reflections on whiskey bottles above platters of restaurant food and into Maya's bubbles. I'm achingly sad among unfamiliar fields, where last year's cotton drifts like dirty snow. I'm speeding past cruddy mobile homes, like the one I owned by a lake, the one my wife hated and I gave away. The eroded earth of Porter Gap's mounds remind me of a New Age cracking pot theory. Earth's two magma cores spin slower than the crust. That means time is going faster and faster. In a flat hamlet beside the levee that holds back the river's great floods, two women waddle from a quick shop with corn chips and liters of Pepsi. There's no work for them in the middle of the Delta. in Clarksdale, Muddy Waters' childhood cabin rests inside a $1 million museum. But I stare at a Duolian with paisley designs, the guitar I wanted when I was 20, when the blues were my romance and my sorrow. Paint flakes off the Leland Blues Museum. Its sign looks like it was lettered by a broom. Downtown is vacant. The school needs care. That scrapyard is really someone's home. This town is the birthplace of Kermit the Frog. A Hindu man and his wife tend rooms at the Relax Inn of Greenville. It's clean, cheap, old, and warm. Their son rides his bike in and out of the office. A curry cloud floats out the door. I drink a beer at the Lightning Strikes Casino, a gaudy barge tied to the earthen levee that was built by prisoners after the floods of 27. So many died, they were buried where they fell. What do the lords of death want? Cigarette smoke, clanking slots, flashing red lights? My money won't fill this till, and they won't take any beauty that I might scrounge from my memories, my fears, my illusions. There's hubbub among the grief trees. Ducks paddle head down in a feeding frenzy. Around the knees of the cypress, egrets wade in the catfish ponds. Seeds are sprouting in the old river swamps. In a booth behind me, a diner thanks the Lord for success and this food. His voice is too loud, his head bald and bowed, but his wife sits as stiff as a street lamp, rusting with her light bulb gone out. My eyes squint against dull light and drizzle. Billboards flaunt a picturesque plantation. Road signs point to a new brick prison. This traffic seems the same as traffic back home. Pickups, sport vans, rust buckets. At Grand Isle on the Gulf Shore, I pitch my tent on the sand. Katrina used this land as her football. Wind, rain, and darkness were her teammates. Tonight I see nature's backside. I feel something more than chaos. Is it a fear of boredom? Fear of solitude? Fear of failure? Fear of fear or death? I can't relax. The darkness is too deep. The gulf is black water and emptiness. I walk to the end of a black dock and watch a pinhead of light on the water. A roofless building stands alone behind me. Studs and bare joists, trash on the sand. No trespassing. Bathhouse closed for repairs. Sitting in the Mercury, the radio's on. The windows fog because I'm wet. I can't sing along with the old rock and roll. I'm waiting for my life to unfold. Was it any different when I was 20? Is it my soul I want to know better? Is it a caring heart? From behind the wheel of this shiny car, everywhere I look, there's a mirror. Tomorrow, I return to colder climates. Now, I've driven south. The Hindu had walked north. He found the source. I went to the end. My car has a trunk load of tools. He repaired his sandals every night, but we both sought ineffable direction. I wanted to wake up to a beautiful sunrise. I didn't. The sky is steely and the breeze is cold. I tossed all night in my sleeping bag. Driving the pavement through the open bayous, I paced cormorants and pelicans and eagles. A bleached blonde tops off my coffee. Her voice is as powdery as her face. Her lips are red. Her eyeliner is crooked. She's about 45 with a special figure, lonely eyes, and a dark, fresh hickey. I hear, "Who dat?" in a New Orleans shrimp market. Brooklyn nuns taught tough Irish kids when no one else would go to their slum. Mix in Cajun, Gaelic, Dixie, and Creole, and I hear what Whitman once heard. I'm in and out of the river's generosity. Rosie and Robert Roberts feed me barbecued shrimp and red potatoes. Their deep quilts and calm, warm house help me sleep like a satisfied man. It ain't Mardi Gras, but the characters are out. The naked cowboy serenades me at a stoplight. Between crosswalk lines, he plays a white guitar, wears a white Stetson and white cowboy boots, and nothing else but clean, white Fruit of the Looms. Robert buys an extra lunch to deliver to the homeless in the French Quarter. Look at their shoes. You can tell who's hungry. There are sandstorms and snowdrifts banking against doorways or trash piles or in the alleys. A backstreet trinity sits on a stoop, sharing silence and a liter of beer. One looks beaten, but his cheeks are tattooed, like an insane clown in a hip-hop posse. Is that the one where spirit hides? Let's do it. With the meal from Piccadilly's, I asked the clown, "Sir, could you use a meal?" "Yes, thank you." "And could you use some cash?" His voice becomes real. "God bless you." Robert says, that changing voice proves he's spirit. Months after the levees failed, the water's gone. An empty barge dry docks in the 9th Ward. A Christmas reindeer sits at the wheel of a Buick. The upright homes are making mold. A speedboat is stalled on a roof. Pet rescue tents lean on porta potties. A pink house and a blue house hug in the middle of the street. Bare foundations stretch block after block. Food rots in thousands of overturned fridges. It's a cemetery with its decay above the ground. Not too many old folks drowned in their attics. He wasn't walking to New Orleans, but a spray paint message on his balcony reads, "R.I.P. Fats, you will be missed." Fats Domino was missed. He still lived. At a bayou pond, all the trees' crowns snapped. Their stubble reflects on smooth water. Songbirds sing in the backwoods brush. An egret flies like a blessing through the grotto. My excess voltage finds a ground. My last 3 a.m. in Louisiana, and I'm thirsty. A log burns in the living room fireplace. Robert works on a laptop in half light. He looks like an African king in a story. Am I dreaming? Am I awake? Am I living? In a t-shirt and boxers, Robert provides coffee, breakfast, and talk until dawn. When I finally depart, clouds settle on the bayous. Ponchar train does not exist as I drive through the fog on a long, long bridge. Now the sun has hidden from Tuesday to Tuesday to Tuesday. Sometimes it rained. Sometimes the wind blew. I touched the ruin of carnival parades. I saw magic from beggars and bold waiters. I see more than glitz, illusion, and beauty. Between Grenada and Tillatoba, sunlight breaks through the clouds. I'm going back north in the fast lane. A fat, old woman scowls at a rest stop, but I smile, and she gives me a grin and a twinkle. Robert taught me one way to hunt spirit. This woman shows me another. To get spirit a drop at a time. To give it a drop at a time. Watch for the second look. Listen for the second word. Now the sky is red over Marion and the moon is out. And I watch the first bright dawn in weeks. I'm parked in Love's gas station. I watch thousands upon thousands of snow geese fly into the sunrise. Everything in me is a metaphor. My way is a ritual language. If an Orleans is a cloth of cotton and a worsted wrap from the French, New Orleans gave me a new rap, a new story. From Winnebagosh to Crow Wing, Sartell and Afton, Diamond Bluff, Pine Creek, Sugarloaf and Dogfield, McGregor, LeClaire, Moline and Muscatine, Warsaw, Keokuk, Quincy and the Palisades, to Columbia and Lewis and Clark. From Waterloo to Fort Defiance, to Memphis, Tunica and Winterville Mounds, to Baton Rouge, Galliano, to the Palcomine Ferry, to Algiers, Araby, and the St. Bernard's Parish, Pouchatula, Tillatoba, Hickahala Creek. From the crossroads of the routes 60, 61, 62, to Farmer City, Kickapoo Creek and Bloomington, through Starved Rock, Rockford, Madison and Baraboo, to the Dells and Toma and the real Camp McCoy. I'm almost home. I'm almost home. I'm home.